Good morning, family. We've reached the end of this journey together as we arrive in the final chapter of John. Now, we've seen from the very beginning Christ call his disciples and give them purpose, and we've watched as they've watched this ministry flow out into the world and change it forever. We've seen the unacceptable accepted, the unloved loved. We've seen Christ preach truth with a confidence and a conviction that no one's ever seen before. We've seen healings and miracles and everything rising up to this climax and this crescendo, at which point it all seems to fall apart and Christ is betrayed and put on trial and tortured on a cross, and he dies, and then he's resurrected, and the disciples witness the resurrected Christ who's beaten death in the grave and reaches out to them anew. And yet, despite all of that, at the beginning of John chapter 21, we find the disciples almost back to where they were before this whole journey started. They're on a boat, they're fishing, they have needs that need to be met, and they're meeting it in their own strength. They're back to their old habits, their old ways, fishing on a boat and fishing unsuccessfully. And it's in context of that that Christ arrives and he reestablishes himself as their provider. He speaks to them, and as they engage with his words and put into practice, all of a sudden their needs are met, their nets are filled, and they recognize him as Christ. And today, Jesus is reaching out and he wants to do exactly the same thing. You might feel like you're stuck in old habits, in old ways. Maybe there's coping mechanisms that you keep going back to. You feel like you don't have the emotional capacity, or you have some other need that needs to be met and you need to meet it in your own strength. Today, Christ wants to establish himself in your life as the source and the provider that we can turn to him. And as the disciples recognize him, they come back onto shore, and then he does a second thing. He reestablishes a relationship with them. In verse 12, he says this, "Come and have breakfast." How's that for a Jesus quote, right? Come and have breakfast. He could have said, "Come and get on your knees." But instead it's have breakfast. And this morning I was on the bed and I was crying out to God and I was saying, "Jesus, I want to have breakfast with you. I want to have a relationship with you. I want to tell you what's on my heart and mind, and I want to listen to what you have to say." Maybe you've never had breakfast with Jesus. Today there's an opportunity to. Take the time, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, to have breakfast with Jesus. He's reaching out and he wants that. The third thing that he does is that after he's established himself as source and provider, re-established relationship, he shows us that what that manifests in is a love for others, and he reignites a purpose in this world. He says to Peter, "Peter, do you love me?" Peter responds, "Of course I do." And he says, "Go and feed my sheep, tend my sheep, feed my lambs." He doesn't say, "Peter, are you a leader? Then go and feed the sheep." He doesn't say, "Do you have time? Do you have skills?" He says, "Do you love me?" And this is a call for each of us as his children, each of us who love him, that we're on a mission, that we have a purpose and a passion, and that's to love God and to love others. And that's a journey of joy, of grace, of laughter, of messing up and getting back up with our eyes set on him. I'm excited to journey with you.